Carlo Pietro Giovanni Guglielmo Tebaldo Ponzi, a name that would become synonymous with one of the most infamous financial schemes in history. Born in Lugo, Italy in 1882, Carlo, later known as Charles, had grand dreams from a young age. Growing up in a modest family, he was always fascinated by stories of wealth and success. He craved wealth and respect, feeling Italy was too small for his ambitions. The narrow streets of Lugo couldn't contain his larger-than-life dreams. America, a land of opportunity, called to him. The tales of fortunes made overnight and the promise of a new beginning were too enticing to ignore. Arriving in Boston in 1903 with just $2.50 in his pocket, he was confident and charming. He believed that his wit and charisma would pave the way to success. He believed in his ability to succeed. His confidence was unshakable, and he was determined to make a name for himself in this new world. His early years in America were tough. He worked odd jobs as a dishwasher, waiter, and factory worker, struggling to make ends meet. These jobs didn't satisfy him. He felt that his talents were being wasted and that he was destined for something greater. He quickly learned English and observed the world around him. He spent hours in libraries, reading and educating himself about business and finance. However, his ambition led him down a darker path. He drifted into petty crimes, landing in jail for check fraud and smuggling immigrants. These experiences hardened him, teaching him about the system and human nature. He learned how to exploit people's desires and weaknesses. He realized that people wanted easy money and shortcuts to wealth. This insight would become the cornerstone of his future schemes. Ponzi stored this knowledge, knowing his moment would come. He was always thinking, always planning, waiting for the right opportunity. A bigger plan was forming in his mind, a plan to make his fortune. He was ready to take on the world and leave his mark on history. The 1920s dawned, a new era of exuberance. The world was ready to move on from the shadows of the Great War, embracing a future filled with promise and prosperity. The Great War was over, and America was booming. The economy surged forward, driven by technological advancements and a renewed sense of optimism. Factories churned out goods, and the stock market soared. Industrial production reached unprecedented heights, and the financial markets buzzed with activity. Boston was a city of contrasts, old money and new immigrants. The wealthy elite lived in grand mansions, while new arrivals sought their fortunes in bustling neighborhoods. The city throbbed with energy, ripe for a man like Ponzi. Streets were filled with the sounds of commerce and the chatter of opportunity. People talked about investments and making fortunes overnight. The allure of quick wealth was irresistible, and conversations often turned to the latest financial schemes. Traditional savings seemed too slow. Fast returns were alluring. Advertisements promised incredible gains, and the public was eager to believe. Charles Ponzi felt this pulse and understood the desire. He knew that the time was right to capitalize on the public's hunger for wealth. He returned to Boston, married Rose Necco, and sought his big break. With a keen sense of timing, he began to lay the groundwork for his audacious plan. The city was electric, full of hopeful investors ready to believe. People from all walks of life were eager to invest, driven by dreams of quick riches. The stage was set. All he needed was the perfect script. Ponzi's scheme was about to unfold, promising untold wealth to those willing to take the risk. Ponzi received a letter from Spain containing an international reply coupon, IRC. These coupons could be exchanged for postage stamps in another country. Ponzi saw not just a coupon but a path to riches. He discovered a quirk. IRCs bought cheaply in weak economies could be redeemed for more in strong economies. This was arbitrage, buying low and selling high. Ponzi calculated astonishing potential profits, over 400% on some transactions. He envisioned a network of agents buying IRCs abroad, shipping them to him. But the actual trading of IRCs was cumbersome and slow. The idea morphed from a legitimate business into something deceptive. The scheme was born. In January 1920, Ponzi established the Securities Exchange Company. The name sounded official and respectable. He promised investors a 50% return in 45 days or 100% in 90 days. Early investors were cautious, investing small amounts. Ponzi paid them back with promised profits, and word spread. More people came, bringing larger sums. Ponzi was charming and confident, explaining the IRC arbitrage. He cultivated an image of success, expanding his office. The truth was different. He wasn't buying many IRCs. Instead, he used new investors' money to pay earlier ones. This was a classic pyramid scheme, but no one knew it yet. The money kept pouring in. By spring 1920, Boston was gripped by Ponzi fever. Thousands lined up outside his office, eager to invest. Police were needed for crowd control. Newspapers hailed him as a financial wizard. Ponzi bought a lavish mansion and expensive cars. He was an immigrant success story, living the American dream. At its peak, Ponzi's company took in $250,000 a day. He promised to share his wealth, becoming a hero to many. But the foundation was built on lies. New money paid old debts, and the illusion continued. Not everyone was convinced by Ponzi's magic. Financial experts questioned the numbers. To generate Ponzi's claimed profits, he needed an impossible number of IRCs. Clarence Barron, a respected journalist, investigated Ponzi's operations. The published articles raising serious questions. Ponzi fought back, suing for libel and projecting confidence. Many investors wanted to believe him, but doubt grew. Some started to withdraw their money and Ponzi paid them. This temporarily calmed fears, but the pressure was mounting. The articles attracted official attention. State and federal authorities began investigations. A run on Ponzi's company began, and he paid out millions. They uncovered more about Ponzi's past. On August 2, 1920, they published a devastating exposé. It detailed the impossibility of Ponzi's scheme. Federal agent William McMasters turned against Ponzi. The truth was coming out, and Ponzi's days were numbered. On August 10, 1920, federal auditors revealed Ponzi's company was bankrupt. It had liabilities of $7 million but few assets. No evidence of large-scale IRC trading was found. The money funded Ponzi's lavish lifestyle. Ponzi was arrested on August 12, facing federal and state charges. His company was shut down and assets seized. Thousands of investors were left in shock, their dreams shattered. The aftermath was devastating, with families ruined and suicides reported. Ponzi was convicted, serving time in federal and state prisons. He was deported to Italy in 1934, dying in poverty in 1949. Charles Ponzi's name became synonymous with fraud. His infamous scheme, which promised investors massive returns with little risk, captivated the public's imagination in the early 20th century. The term Ponzi scheme describes scams paying early investors with new investors' funds. This creates an illusion of a profitable business, but in reality, it's a house of cards destined to collapse. It preys on greed, hope, and the desire for easy money. People are lured by the promise of high returns, often ignoring the red flags that signal danger. Decades later, Ponzi's methods are still replicated worldwide. From small-time operators to large-scale fraudsters, the scheme has evolved, but the core principles remain unchanged. The names and supposed investments change, but the mechanics remain. Whether it's real estate, cryptocurrency, or other ventures, the underlying deceit is the same. The promise of high returns with little risk is a timeless deception. It's a siren song that has led many to financial ruin. Bernie Madoff's massive scheme defrauded thousands for billions. His operation was one of the largest and most devastating Ponzi schemes in history. Each scheme leaves a trail of victims, reminding us of Ponzi's con. The emotional and financial toll on those deceived is immeasurable. The story of Charles Ponzi serves as a cautionary tale. His legacy is a stark reminder of the dangers of unchecked greed and the importance of due diligence. It teaches us to be skeptical and question too-good-to-be-true promises. Vigilance and skepticism are our best defenses against such schemes. Ponzi's shadow looms large, a reminder of financial deception's power. His story continues to educate and warn future generations about the perils of financial fraud.